Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone. And of course, Oliver has to start us off with his wonderful serenade of barking. It's like he knows when I'm doing my podcast, he just starts barking. So welcome to that. But all joking aside, welcome again to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. And as you just heard, today we're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Please be sure and join us in the chat. Hopefully we'll get some folks that will pop in. We love hearing from you and we love your questions and comments. So today we're going to be exploring what I believe to be a deeply relevant cultural phenomenon that we call the cult of fame and its inevitable consequence. And that ties into our crisis of morality. We're no longer simply admiring talent, but we're witnessing a cultural shift where celebrity status has replaced traditional institutions as the defining measure of success and ethical approval. And this has been going on for quite some time, and it seems to be revving up with like Taylor Swift, for example, and many, many more, of course. The shift that's taking place has dangerously blurred the lines, allowing wealth and notoriety to kind of excuse or glorify unethical behavior and threatening to erode our common moral framework. Today, we have a very special guest with us today to talk about this critical conversation. Her name is Cynthia Mitchell. She is the founder of AffirmLifeDaily.com. And Cynthia brings a unique perspective rooted in personal development and conscious living, helping us to understand not just how this cult of fame affects us, but how we can build inner strength to resist it. Cynthia, let me bring you on stage.
Hi.
So good to have you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. So you have a pretty nice bio, substantially, with a lot of stuff going on in your life that you're very passionate about. So rather than me read it, let me step away for a minute and you can tell our listeners about Affirm Life Daily and just the over-encompassing scope of your work. So Take it away.
Okay. Yes. Well, Affirm Life Daily is rooted in the principles of natural law. I have a podcast, and there's also a lot of other information on my website, but my main focus is the podcast because obviously we're in a world of trouble if you just take a look around. And what people are not realizing, they want to change symptoms. They want to get rid of symptoms. They don't want to look at the foundational issues that we have. So that was really one of the main reasons why I started the podcast, is to educate people about natural law and the Hermetic principles, because if we don't understand how to live in harmony with nature, because we are part of nature and the natural world and the principles that actually guide this world, it's kind of a hopeless endeavor because we'll keep running into the same problems over and over again, as you see we have for a very long time. For decades upon decades, we're running into the same problems because we are not understanding these foundational principles and we're not changing the foundation of how we live. So on the website, there's, like I said, there's the podcast, there's affirmations, there's poetry, there's tons of resources to documentaries, books, podcasts, anything that will help with educating people and helping people come into an understanding of their inner self, focusing more inwards rather than outwards, rather than pointing the finger and saying, well, this is the bad guy, this is the reason why the world is messed up. Taking a look at yourself and saying, what do I need to work on? How connected am I to my own spirituality, to my own inherent divinity? So those are some of the things that I really focus on with Affirm Life Daily, because affirming life and living life and being really involved in life is kind of the opposite of what this celebrity culture promotes. It's living through
So
someone
well
else's
said.
life, you know?
So well said. So well
Thank
said.
you.
And of course, you'll see us say hello to some of our favorite people. Heidi, we love you dearly. She's a very dear friend of mine and of the network. So we always need to acknowledge Heidi. Thank you so much, Heidi, for always showing us your support. Okay, so tell us about natural before we get into the whole celebrity thing, which I find deeply disturbing, and I think is like the root cause or part of the root cause as to our demise of morality in society. I think it plays a big role in that. Tell us about natural law and how you felt passionate to it. Like when did that start for you?
Well, I had, I've been on my spiritual journey for a long time, since my 20s. And it was kind of just like a slow kind of progression. And then 3 years ago, I went through something really, really hard. I lost my husband of 27 years. And it took me to a really dark place where I had to kind of make a choice of what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I decided that I wanted to heal, that I wanted to heal from this and go forward. And then I wanted to transmute all this grief, because it's tons of energy that goes into grief, into something positive, into being of service. And of course, when you are ready, the universe presents the people that you need. And I ran across a Mark Passio video, and I'm like, that's it. That's the missing link from all the information that I know, all these little parts of what's wrong with us. I could never figure out why we couldn't get out of the pattern, why we couldn't get
Mhm.
out of these destructive cycles as humanity, because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
And when I, learned about natural law, I went through his 200 some episodes like they were nothing. And then, of course, then I started reading books and listening to other people, podcasts and videos and documentaries, just learning more and more about natural law and the Hermetic principles. And it just resonated with me so deeply. And I felt like I had to do this,
Yeah.
because if I really want things to change, like I said, we have to change. We cannot expect our society, our world, humanity to change as a collective if each individual does not do any inner work and doesn't change themselves.
Gosh, I love that. I like Mark's work a lot. Sometimes he gets a little hostile, like a little he
He's
gets a little
intense.
hostile,
He's
but
intense.
I do love his work. I'd love to have him on the show one day. Um, but I have to say this to you out of the gate. I knew that was a reason why I touched base with you. I felt like an intuitive pulling to make sure I reached out to you and found a slot for you to be on right away because blessings, we get booked up really fast in terms of guests. So my husband passed away 4 years ago this November after 45 years of marriage.
Oh wow.
So
Oh
we
wow.
have a definite connection there
Yes.
going on. So I know what you mean about the grief and how deep it runs.
Yes.
How long ago has he passed now?
Almost 3.5 years now.
Okay, so wow, that's really weird because it's almost like the same time frame too for us.
Yes. Yes.
And I can just imagine feel the same amount of grief that you're going through because it never leaves us.
Mm-mm.
It's with us all the time in every second of the day, everything that we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally feel you on that 100%. But yeah, and it's interesting because I believe too that, as you just mentioned, that you're drawn to your people, like like the universe just draws you to the people that
Magnetic.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure you're discovering that every day still,
Yes.
right?
Yes, my soul family has grown like exponentially so
Yeah.
quickly. Just the more that I do more shadow work, more self work, more understanding, more evolution, I just draw in more and more people into my soul family. They just literally appear before my eyes. So I am richly blessed, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this
Yeah.
opportunity to be of service to humanity, and like I said, to help educate on natural law, because we have to understand that freedom is an inherent right. It's not something we beg for, not something we vote for, not something we ask for. It is an inherent right. Our freedom.
Yes.
It's a birthright.
Yes.
That's one of the foundational principles of natural law is understanding that that is our birthright, and that can never be taken away. It's inherent to us. So educating people on that so that they're not feeling, so, because a lot of people are waking up because the vibration of the earth is changing. And a lot of people are waking up and they're just feeling completely lost. They're like, okay, I see that I've been, that everything around me is kind of a scam, but
Mm-hmm.
now what? Now what do I do? And so I think it's really helpful, to have people like me out here explaining natural law and introducing it to people, because it is the foundation. If we want to move forward, we have to understand freedom, the
Yeah.
principle of freedom, and more objective morality. That's another foundational principle of natural law. Objective morality. There is an objective
Mm-hmm.
right and wrong. If you're doing harm to another person, that is objectively wrong. So it doesn't depend on
Mm-hmm.
what the man-made law is. It doesn't depend on which city you're in or which ordinance you broke. It's not dependent on those things. It's dependent on if you're doing harm to someone. That's
Absolutely.
objectively immoral.
Yeah. And as I mentioned to you when we were chatting offline, that I've had several folks from your network there on the show, and one of them made such a profound statement, and I absolutely think about it all the time. And he kind of summarized natural law into like one law, which is thou shalt not steal. Because when you're stealing, you're not only stealing goods and merchandise, but you're stealing everything from a person. It can be their morality, their pride, their ego, their pain, I mean, it just branches across everything. So, in summary, that's just a great way to kind of put it in perspective. At least for me, it was.
It is. And I actually have that on my website, posted on my website. The seven deadly sins are all actually sins of theft. Because when you
Ah,
hurt someone physically, you're stealing their well-being. When you lie to them, you're stealing their ability to discern the truth and make a decision based on truth. So they're all based in stealing. If you, sexually assault someone, you're stealing their ability to choose who they want to be intimate with. It's all based in stealing. All the seven
yeah,
deadly
isn't that
sins.
so interesting?
Yes.
It's so true too. And it's interesting if you just think about that one simple rule every day, not to steal from anybody or anything. It
Yes.
kind of really neatly packages everything.
It
I
does.
love the concept of natural law. Do you think that you've been able to make a difference and to reach a lot of people in your work? Like, do you feel like you're really making progress?
Sometimes it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Being honest, it can be very frustrating, but I do feel like it makes a difference, because if I reach, it just matters to me that I'm reaching some people, because if I reach one person, they may reach another person, and then they
Right.
may, it's a ripple effect. And it
Right.
also helps energetically the collective. Each person
Right.
that takes these steps and takes real action to making change helps the collective leaps and bounds, because we're energetically changing the vibration of humanity every time
Yes.
someone steps into this truth, every single time. So yeah, I think it absolutely makes an impact, and I'll be doing it until my final breath.
Oh, good.
So absolutely, it's too
Yeah, I
important
mean,
not to.
there's a lot of people, like you said, Heidi just mentioned that she resonates with that as well. A lot of people do, but yet it's under talked about. Like, I think we need to get that topic out there more into society, and keep, like you said, touching as many people as we can with the concept. And interestingly, it doesn't really have anything to do with religion. You could still be a religious person and practice, your faith, and
Yes.
still obey the concepts of natural law. What about morality? Where does natural law fit into like the scope of just morality, civilization and morality?
Yes. Again, it's really based on objective morality and abandoning moral relativism, because for the most part, as a collective, we absolutely invest in moral relativism, because it's extremely convenient to say,
Mhm.
well, today this is totally moral because it benefits me. And then
Right.
tomorrow it's immoral when someone uses that same thing against me. Well, that's immoral. Why are you doing that? When it's the exact same thing that you did the other day. So it when your morality can change based on, the geographic location you're at, just the situation, the person you're dealing with. Well, I don't really respect this person, so I'll be, treat them however. But oh, this person I worship like a celebrity, and I'm going to treat them, really, really good. So this is moral relativism. You pick and choose when you're going to
Yeah.
not do harm, and we can't do that. If we want to have the peace and the harmony and the loving society and a free society, freedom is
Mm,
based on us being moral. If we really want a free society, we have got to let moral
yeah.
relativism go and objectively look at situations from, am I causing harm? If I'm causing harm, it's immoral. Period. There's
Yeah.
not a, there's not a but maybe, or if it's harming someone else, it's immoral.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. It's not really like an objective thing where you could pick and choose what is immoral. I think we have like innate abilities to know the difference between, am I harming something? Like, I mean, and that's why I can understand and respect people that choose to be vegetarians or, whatever they want to be, because they feel that they're hurting animals. But then again, in the same breath, I could turn around and say, well, plants are living too, and I have to eat them to survive. It gets difficult to kind of know some of the ins and outs of what's really moral, though. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, and I definitely understand there for sure is a lot of nuance when it comes to situations
Yeah.
like that, especially when you're talking about other living species and things like that. So I feel like one of the best ways to really get that discernment is what you were talking about. When we get in tune with our heart center and our intuition, we're much better able to gauge when we're in a situation how to go about this situation with causing the least amount of harm or no harm at all, because we are in tune with our heart center. Our heart center is much more powerful and emits much more energy than our brains, but we don't usually make our decisions from there. We think
Right.
we're taught to think about it, just be logical, and not and totally ignore our intuition and totally ignore our heart-based intelligence, which is extremely detrimental to us as a society, as for humanity as a whole. So I think
Oh,
that's
I
one of the
agree.
biggest things we can do is getting in touch with our inner self and our inner divinity and reconnecting with source so that we can trust our intuition to say, okay, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. That's an
Yes.
important thing. When something doesn't feel right, it's a reason that it does not feel right. And it's not that we can go through life, never harming anything, but are you intentionally harming? I might go outside and accidentally step on a
Right.
bug, but I didn't intentionally do that. I didn't make a
Right.
choice and say, I'm going out here to harm. But we do still have to live. We have to eat. And though these are cycles of life, and we have to respect that there are cycles of life. When another animal, has to eat whatever it has, we don't say, well, they're being immoral because there are
Right.
cycles of life. But there's ways that we can eat with reverence and respect and without all the cruelty and abuse of Mother Nature. I feel like those are the
Exactly.
ways that we need to really change and rethink the way in
Mhm.
which we live and the way in which we interact with Mother Earth and all the other living beings and
Sure.
creatures on this planet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know a lot of atheists that are very moral. They just innately know what's exactly what, to your point, they know what's moral and what isn't.
Right.
So again, it doesn't have to be attached to any specific religion. It's more of like you said, a heart thing, like following your intuition and your heart.
Yeah.
Now, excuse me, before we get started, what's your take on good and evil? Like, how do you see this spiritual battle that's taking place where evil seems to be really prevalent and surfacing out there? But then again, on the flip side, thankfully, there's a lot of people that are waking up that are good and moral, decent people. So how do you see this battle taking place?
Well, I mean, we live in a world, that's one of the hermetic principles of polarity. There's always opposites. That's
Right.
part of this experience. That's part of this realm. It's built into it. But what
Right.
we have kind of caused for ourselves is a extreme polarity. It's too extreme right now. The evil is so predominant and pervasive and extreme. It's literally crushing itself under its own weight because it's become so extreme. But I feel like there are a lot of people waking up to this, and
Yeah.
I don't balance will has to come. That's another part because of rhythm, the principle of rhythm. Things will always end up balancing out. It may seem like it never does because may take so long because we are operating under the construct of time, but the construct of time is not a real thing. It's just a construct for us to be able to perceive what's going on in this realm.
Right.
So that's kind of how I look at it. Is what we're trying to do now is because you always have the polarity, but what we have to do is Christ consciousness to me is that middle ground. That's what our aim is, because source is all things. It's the good, the bad, it's all the light, the dark. Source is all. And we have to accept that. And that can be very hard for a lot of people to accept that source is actually all. And when we're looking for Christ consciousness, we're looking for the middle.
Absolutely. It's like yin and yang, it's all encompassing. And getting into like the cult of celebrity. Like I admire people that can act well, sing well, dance well. I admire their talents. Like I'll watch the videos, I'll admire the songs, love the songs because I'm really into music. But then you have to be so careful because you can easily cross over into like a dangerous path.
Yes.
In your admiration. It crosses over into like a cult-like status.
Yes.
So what do you think the fundamental difference is between a healthy admiration of talent and like this pathological worship that takes place?
Yes, and I think just like you, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we should appreciate each other's talents. If you can sing really well or dance really well or act really well, that's a gift. That's a talent. That's something to appreciate. That's part of source. Like that's a creative expression of source. So that's wonderful. But what we've come to do, and as a society collectively, what many people have come to do is associate someone being really, really talented as being a really great person and a moral person also. That they think the two automatically go together. They're really talented, so they must be awesome as a person as well. And
Yeah.
we're kind of convoluting those two things together. So when you just have a healthy appreciation, you appreciate it, but you separate the artist from the art. You don't necessarily make any associations. You can separate the two very clearly, very distinctly. But when you get into this pathological celebrity worship, there is no distinction. They're a great artist. That means they're a great person. They deserve to be worshiped. They're projecting all of their devotion, all of their love, all of their insecurities, everything onto this person. And they're literally creating an delusion in the mind. They're losing grasp of reality. So it's
absolutely,
you can definitely be denoted by projection, externalization, rigidity, and just obsessive nature and built on control, because they're losing control of themselves in reality and then trying to exert control over others who don't agree with oh, you don't like Beyonce. You know what I mean? It's like
it almost becomes political. Like it's crazy. Cassie just said we live in a world of polarity, not duality. That's so true. And thank you so much. It becomes a sickness, like an unhealthy obsession. And in so many ways, it's bad for the artists too, because they get stalkers, they get their homes broken into. So, they're making this sacrifice for fame and fortune, and it comes at a hefty price. It really does.
It absolutely does. And you have this stan culture, which is stalker and fan, the word stalker and fan put together. You have these stan cultures, and they can be dangerous. And many crazed fans turn on the person that they're obsessed with and actually kill that person. So it's very harmful. It's very pathological, and it's rooted in a lot of disconnection. Everything always comes back to disconnection. When you're disconnected from self, from source, from nature, pathology will ensue. It'll
Yeah.
look different ways. It might be your health. It might be your mental health. It might be you becoming obsessed with celebrities. But pathology will ensue as a result of that level of disconnection
Yeah. Yeah.
every
So
time.
true.
And in the celebrity culture, it extends, way beyond even just singers and actors, politicians,
Yeah.
athletes. I mean, Ted Bundy had a fan club.
Yes.
The courtroom be full every day of women wanting to marry a serial killer. It's very
Well,
pathological.
we are still experiencing that with that guy. I don't remember names of murderers on purpose. The one that killed the healthcare CEO.
I can't think of his
I
name
mean,
either,
we're
but
still worshiping. They've got GoFundMe's for these people. So this is where it becomes really dangerous. If you're good looking, if you fit that model of of being attractive, especially women. I hate to say it, but women are the largely to blame for a lot of this idolatry of
yes.
male actors and female actresses. They just get so engrossed by this fantasy that this person is going to like be their savior. I mean,
Hmm.
there's a band that I recently, within the past 6 months, found, and they're called Sleep Token. And a lot of people may not know who they are, and they've gathered hundreds of millions of fans across the globe. They use a very mystical theme, and they put like a narrative to their band, that a lot of people fell into, trapped to. But the point I'm trying to make is they are putting signs on the stage when they perform that they saved their lives. Like just listening to the music somehow saved this and if you go on the internet, you'll see letters. I was on the verge of, offing myself, and listening to your music saved me. You saved my life, like to the lead singer. And that's like a dangerous line to
Yeah.
cross,
Yes.
because again, it falls into that idolatry,
Mhm.
of
And
worship.
externally, yeah,
Yeah,
rejecting
awful.
everything. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And I definitely think with women, I feel like a lot of this comes from because the divine feminine has been so suppressed and
Mm,
rejected and muddled in
yeah.
in our collective. I think it's left a lot of women just completely confused and completely they're disconnected from their nature, our divine nature, as
Yeah.
the as predominantly the ones
Yes.
that bring the divine feminine. And so if we're missing that balance, so there's nothing to balance out the divine masculine because the divine feminine has been so suppressed in our culture for so long.
And we still are. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it
look
is.
at so many of the countries out there. I'm not gonna start naming them, but, where women can't show their faces and they're beaten in public still, and, they're just treated like garbage. And, it's sad. And we're so blessed to live in a country where, thankfully we don't have to experience that. But I think you're so spot on about the divine feminine. And, and two, we've all been fed this fairy tale that, from early on, that we're going to meet our Prince Charming and get swept off our feet, and we're going to have this wonderful magical life with this person, and this
Mhm.
person's going to be our savior. And we've been fed that.
Yes.
So we kind of have to, and there are a lot of people breaking away from that. Your soul partner is supposed to be your better half, not someone that you look to save you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and I think a lot of this celebrity stems from that we look at these people and we just idolize them. And what about this satanic influence that a lot of these, well, particularly musicians? I mean,
Yes.
if you go on Google and you just type in satanic images in music, let me just share this real quick. It's just mind-boggling.
It's disturbing. It's
It
very
really is. It
disturbing.
really is. So like here, you
Yes.
know, all these images are so satanic,
Yeah.
and I for the life of me can't but well, I know a lot of them are selling their souls. They really are legitimately
Yes,
doing that.
they are.
They're having satanic rituals and selling their soul. Bob Dylan, for a great example, admits that
Yeah,
on video during an interview that
yeah,
he sold his soul. And the interviewer asked him, "Could you duplicate that music? Could you create a hit like you did back in the day?" And he said no. Like his contract kind of came to an end, and he's waiting to die so he could just fulfill the contract. It's really thwarted, if you ask me. It's
it is.
awful. Yeah.
It really is. And, a lot of these concerts too, you can see they're clearly
Yeah.
doing rituals, clearly
Oh,
doing
yeah.
satanic rituals at the concerts. And
Yes.
people are still exposing themselves, exposing their kids to these rituals.
Yes.
So I think it's really important that people understand. They dramatize it with the devil horns and looking like a demon, but the foundation of what they're really pushing is
Mhm.
inversion.
Yes.
Satanism is simply
Right.
inversion of what is good, inversion of what is holy, inversion of what is moral. Is inversion of all the things that would create the type of society and empowered human beings that the control system does never want to see.
Yeah.
It's the inversion of all the things that would create that.
Yes, it is. It's Baphomet worship. And, what's their slogan? Do what thou wilt. Like, and that one sentence goes against every moral code. It goes against every moral fiber, especially regarding natural law. You can't do what thou wilt without hurting other people.
Hmm.
It's awful. It's
Hmm.
just awful.
Yeah, and
Okay,
it's
so,
just becoming more and more
yeah,
extreme and in your face. They used to, I feel like, be a little bit more discreet. Now
exactly.
it's absolutely in your face,
Yeah.
and they're
Soul
kind
makes
of
a great
scaring you. What are you
point.
going to do about it?
The divine feminine is under direct attack by music in Hollywood. They
Yep.
say the satanic imagery is programming for kids. Gosh, that's so bloody
Soul
true.
is a friend of mine. He's been on my podcast as a guest a
Oh,
number of times.
nice.
That is
Nice to
very
meet
true.
you.
Thank you, Soul. Thank you for that. Yes, it
Yeah,
is
so
under
true.
attack. And we are just being bombarded with toxic masculinity and toxic femininity as our examples. And our kids
Yeah,
are watching this and they think this is
yeah,
how we're supposed to be. And like you said, our kids are obsessed with finding a savior, a prince charming, all of these,
yeah.
completely made up romanticized versions of people. And they're completely out of touch with what real humanity looks like, what real people are like. They're just completely out of touch.
Yeah, they really are. And it's funny, I see it so much during spooky month, as everybody likes to call it now. And it's kind of like a good gateway for them to really put this stuff out there in videos. In man, some of the music videos are just blatant devil worship.
Hmm.
It's really and a lack of morality. And I'm no prude. Like I'm no prude,
Right.
believe me.
Yeah.
Right. But some of this stuff is really off the cuff, crazy stuff. And it's in fashion. It's everywhere. Like,
Everywhere.
look at the commercials on beauty still. Like, and for a while, they started to promote like alternate examples of what it means to be beautiful. And now they're back at the same, like Victoria's Secrets is a great example. They were using models that were a little on the hefty side. And that I have no problem. Everybody comes in different shapes and sizes.
Right.
So I really don't have a problem with that at all.
No.
But it didn't work for them. So now they're back using these gorgeous, angelic looking models again because that's what society want to see. Like
Hmm.
honestly, men want to see that.
Hmm. Yeah. Because yeah, we become obsessed with these fantasies.
Yes,
Reality is out the window. It's out the window.
absolutely.
Reality is very inconvenient because when you start dealing in reality, then you have to start
Yeah,
dealing with yourself.
yeah,
You start
yeah.
dealing with yourself. And most people will do almost anything before they want to really deal with themselves in a real
Oh,
way.
that is so true. That it's like filling the void because research suggests that celebrity worship can compensate for low self esteem or a
Hmm.
lack of personal identity. So idolizing these celebrities prevent individuals from owning a sense of their own objective morality. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Because you're using complete escapism now, and to an extreme degree. You are the energy that you would expend, like getting to know yourself, doing shadow work, healing, growing,
Yes.
honoring your divinity, your inherent divinity. All of that's out the window because you're putting all your energy into projecting your life into someone else's,
Yeah.
trying to live through someone else. And then it kind of fits into this kind of favorite person, perfect person archetype. Oh, they're so perfect. I can never be perfect, so I'm just going to worship them because they are perfect, and
Yeah.
I know I can never be.
Right.
So they're fulfilling all of these needs that really because we're designed for connection and for
Oh,
community.
yeah.
We're built for that, so we will always look for it. And so when they've designed our entire society for disconnection, we're disconnected from nature, we're disconnected from other everything's through the phones and through online communication. We can cocoon ourselves in these echo chambers on social media. We can do all of these things, and we're just losing connection with ourselves, with other people, with building community, with all of these things. So
Yeah.
then what we still want it in deep down. It's built into us. So then we start to go into the celebrity worship and things like that to look for the connection that we're missing, but we'll never find it that way. That's where the
No.
pathology comes in, because you can't find it that way because it's not real. it's
No.
it's a delusion. It's not
Yeah, it
real.
really is.
And
It
now
really
people
is.
are
It's
even
sad.
losing the skills to even build real connection. There's so many young people that can't even hold, I can't even say just young people, that can't even hold a conversation. They're
Yeah.
losing the skills by the day to even be able to build, to even know how to relate to other humans, to even let down their guard enough, because we've been tricked to think that everyone's out to get us, everyone's out to harm us. We don't trust anyone. Oh, let's just, shelter in place and get on our phones and
It's
not
really
actually go live.
sad. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really sad. And Soul made a great point here. Japanese anime does the same with symbolism. The main characters become celebrity. I always admired, I'm a fan of cartoons and I love anime, but it's so sexualized too.
I don't watch much anime, so I'm
Yeah.
not, I haven't really seen it, so
Yeah.
I'm not
It's
sure.
really, they've taken every venue and they've turned it into like this
Yeah.
celebrityism,
Yeah.
just to worship these and you're worshiping a cartoon.
That's what I was
You
about to
could
say. Worshiping a cartoon, that just sounds so insane. Like, why would
does.
you be worshiping a cartoon? You know for sure that's not real. That's not even a
Yeah.
real person.
Oh, they get tattoos. I've seen anime, tattoo. Those are for life. Like you put an anime
Really.
tattoo on your body, and I don't know. I agree with you so heartedly that it's to fill this void,
It's
this
filling the void.
where spiritualism should dwell, where we should foster things like the natural law, the premises of natural law. Instead, they're filling it with this garbage,
Yes. Yes.
and we all know the rule: garbage in, garbage out. So this is
Absolutely.
what happens. It's really scary.
It
And of
is.
course, we've got the business of morality too. So, do you think that celebrities should have a higher moral obligation than the regular average person? Because they're ethically compromised by the industry. Like how much of the industry do you think is to blame for this? Or do you think it's an individual's fault?
I do think it's the individual's fault because we all
Mm,
have choices here. Now, I don't feel like they have a greater moral responsibility, but they have a greater responsibility in the sense that they have more influence. But
yes.
my responsibility to be moral is the same as theirs, but
Right.
their reach and influence is much greater. So the impact is going to be much greater, and so will the karmic consequences. When you're knowingly spreading things that is harmful to other people and to the people that are worshiping you, there's a
Yeah.
karmic debt to pay for that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I do think that their responsibility is greater just because their reach is so much greater. And you got
absolutely.
to think, if people weren't, so disconnected and becoming so obsessed with celebrities and celebrityism, they would spend that energy um, creating real bonds with their family, with their children,
Mm,
with nature, with building community. It would be game changing if we spent that energy in a productive way that
yeah,
aligned with nature. Everything they promote, again, it's inversion, is misaligned with nature. It is not a natural state. So pathology will always ensue because it's not a natural state of being.
and you brought up a good point. I don't see any of these celebrities really fostering community strength. I don't see any of them doing that.
No, no. And that is the foundation. Look, community is the foundation of everything. We've been taught, we've been programmed to think hyper independence about everything. I can do it myself. I'm better off alone. I don't need a man. I don't need a family. I don't need anybody. I can do it all by myself. That's not how
Not
we're
true.
designed. We're designed for community. We are connected. Whether you like it or not, we're all connected. Everything is connected.
Absolutely.
And then you can try all you want to break that connection, it will never work. And it will just lead to more and more destruction because you're trying to break something that you can't break. You can't break that connection. It's
No.
inherent.
Yeah. Um, everyone, it's funny. Talk about people waking up, and a lot of people are realizing, and I hear it over and over again on social media, that we're not humans living a spiritual life, but we're really spiritual beings living a human experience.
Yes.
And a lot of people need to see themselves that way, as spirit first and
Yes.
your
Yes.
humanist second, right?
Yes.
So, but
Yes.
there are people kind of waking up to that. Have you ever had what we call like a kundalini experience during your spiritual practices? Have you ever had a moment of like revelation where everything just became crystal clear? Maybe it lasted for seconds, nanoseconds. It could be. Have you ever experienced anything like that during maybe meditation or reading something? I mean, it could be anything.
Yes, I have had experiences like that. And sometimes they are very quick. They don't feel quick when you're having it, but I guess
Right?
with the construct of time, it
Yes.
may have been very quick. But yes,
Yeah.
I have. I don't know if I could classify it as Kundalini experience, but I've definitely had those experiences of where there's no question, there's no doubt. I feel the absolute connection everything, to
Yeah.
everything. I don't feel like I'm even in my body. I feel like the body is just kind of like an avatar that I'm controlling or using,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just the pure consciousness that I'm only engaging with, just the pure consciousness. So yeah, I've had experiences like that, and what you said is so vitally important. We are eternal spiritual beings. We are fractals of source having a temporary human experience. And you grasping that broader picture of our existence is extremely important because it helps to break the fear narrative that they're always hammering in on us. The
Oh, yeah.
control system loves the fear narrative. And if you think, okay, I'm just a human being, I'm very vulnerable, I'm very fragile, if they kill me, that's it, I'm gone, or I might even go to hell or whatever, you're going to operate in this world very differently from someone who is in their spiritual sovereignty. They understand their divine nature and they understand that their spiritual nature is eternal. And there's nothing
Mhm.
that anybody external can do about that because they're all part of the same creation too.
Absolutely. It's almost as if these globalists just hate human beings and they will do anything because I believe that a lot of them don't have souls the way we do. I mean, I believe all humans are born with souls, but I think some of them surrender that or lose that along the way, whether it's through demonic practices or something. And they're so envious of the fact that we have divinity. We're divine beings, and no one can take that away from us. No one. I
Yeah,
don't care. I don't
no,
think any contract with the devil can take away your divinity.
no, you can become extremely disconnected from it, but it's
Right.
inherent to you. That's literally what you are. So,
Exactly.
and some of the participants in this control system, I'm not even so sure are human per se, and in the way
Yeah,
that we think about human. But still, like I said, everything is all of source energy. The whole
it
experience
is.
is all of source energy.
It is. And Cassie says, yes, learning to put our divinity over humanity. What if we led with an understanding of our divinity first?
That is
So well said.
paramount. It's
So well
paramount.
said.
I
Yeah.
talk about that a lot in my podcast and on my social media because it is so crucial that people remember that, because we live in a society, in a world where that that concept is the programming is designed for you to never ever grasp that concept. And if you do, they'll present you with 100 things all day long to make you question it or forget it, or become
Mhm.
so absorbed in the scarcity and, oh my gosh, this person got killed, and oh my gosh, they're past this law, and oh my god, you get caught up and then you
You
forget.
do.
Like, oh, I'm just a scared human now.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very easy to get caught up in the traps that they set, because they set traps all day long.
Oh, yeah, constantly.
It's so easy to get caught up in them. And
Yeah.
celebrity is just one of their traps.
Yeah, it's one of their traps. And it's so interesting when you look at a lot of the movies that are put out by Hollywood, they're always telling us, they're forecasting what's going to be in a very artsy sort of way.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
if I often wonder how they know. Like, there has to be some people out there that are connected through, I know it sounds wacky, but maybe they're connected to the truth through time travel, or maybe they're remote viewing. They're doing something that they can. I mean, look at the movie The Matrix. Like, everybody knows The Matrix, but there's hundreds of examples, if not thousands, right? That forecast the truth um, about like what's to come. How do you think Hollywood? Have you thought about that? Like, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
I've thought about that a lot, and I think it's a number of different things that are coming into play there. And part of it definitely may be um, a time travel type of aspect to it.
Agree.
That's definitely, I feel like, a possibility. Again, with time being, just a construct. Constructs, can be manipulated if you know how to manipulate it.
No.
And then also, I think a lot of it too is where they tell us they are technology wise and advancement wise is nowhere near where they actually really are.
Exactly.
So they'll
Right.
make it seem like they're predicting the future. The future's that's already happening. They're already doing these things. And
Exactly.
they don't make it visible to us to maybe 5 years later or 10 years. They're like, oh, that movie was right. This was already in the works. It was already started. They were already doing it. They were already testing it to
That's a
make sure
good
this would
point.
work. So they're just showing you their plans, that
Yeah.
the things that they're working on currently, but
Yeah.
they're putting it in a futuristic model. And
Yeah.
they plan so far ahead. In a current culture, the way they have us, running around like chickens with their heads cut off, we can barely plan our week out because most people are so stressed. This inflation, this hyperinflation, there's just
Right.
stress out. There's a million things coming at them. They keep
Yeah.
the news cycle just so busy. We don't have time. You don't think about planning like that. They plan hundreds of years ahead.
Yeah, they really do.
And
They're light years ahead of where we think they are,
right.
especially in terms of technology. And
Yeah.
then they've got this karmic, um, I guess, responsibility, from what I've learned and read, that
Revelation
in
of the
order
message.
to relieve karmic burden off of them, they need to tell us, because
Mhm.
in telling us, they're kind of getting our approval. So they're
Apply
not really
principle.
hurting. Right.
Mhm.
So they're not really hurting us because they let us know. And that kind of relieves their karmic burden, which I think is such BS. But
Yeah, yeah. But no, that definitely, I think, ties into it too. That they're letting us know what they're doing. We're not doing anything about it. We're saying, okay, go ahead, keep doing it. And so they're like, well, we told you, and you
exactly.
basically
They
said
told
okay
you
because
so.
you didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is it also is completion of rituals. By telling us, it's completing rituals. That's part of the ritual completion, is letting you know what's being done to you. And then I feel like another facet of this too is predictive programming. So if they keep showing you this is the future, it's dark, it's dystopian, you start believing that and you start energetically creating that.
Right, and you create that future. So we're
We're
doing
doing
their
the work
dirty
for
work.
them. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
doing it for them. We're
we're
doing
doing the
everything
dirty
for
work.
them. They don't really, because of the energetic and the vibratory state they're in, they don't have the creative power that we have. So
Right.
we have to kind of create it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we all know everything is energy and frequency. So they're resonating on this really low
Very
frequency
low.
model. And we resonate on a much higher frequency. So we're doing the work they can't do, essentially, right?
Yes,
Wow.
we're manifesting all of this as a collective, and
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot too on my podcast. We're creating our reality
Yeah.
on a moment to moment basis based on our energy and how we're vibrating and what we focus on. Are we acting in true care? Where are we focusing our time, our energy, and our actions and our emotions? All these things create the reality that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's challenging too because we're often hearing about words and how powerful they are and how they can put spells, hence spelling,
Yes.
onto ourselves and project that as well. How do you deal with that, especially having encountered such terrible grief in the past few years? Because I know for me, like sometimes I get so burdened by grief that it just, encompasses you. And it's very difficult to like lift yourself out of that moment. How do you do that? Do you use meditation? Like what works for Cynthia?
Well, I do allow myself the moments to feel all the feelings. So I do allow the expression of the emotions. But
Hmm.
what I've started to do is detach from the emotion itself because I used to really attach to my emotion where I thought I was the emotion. I thought I was the emotion that I'm
Mm,
having. I have depressed feelings. I'm depressed. I have sad feelings. I
right.
am sad. No, I'm having sad emotions. I'm having
Hmm.
great feelings. And those are temporary. So I will allow them to come through, surface, and be expressed because
And
they
leave.
want to be
Yes.
expressed. And then of course to so that I'm not consumed by it, so that I'm not expressing grief, 24 hours a day. There's lots of practice that I do. I'm very into grounding and breath work. I actually just recently did a grounding and breath work workshop for some people, and they really enjoyed it. For a group that I'm in, a collective that I'm in, which we're working on bringing back community. And I do a lot of meditation. I like to listen to music. I like to
Yes.
dance. I have a huge garden, so I love gardening. So in being of service, that's one of the best things you can do is be of service
Yeah.
because you realize your mission here is so much bigger than just your own personal happiness or your own
Yes.
personal, you know what I mean? So it's just bigger than that. So yeah, my life has changed a lot. There's, lots of people I miss. My mom passed away on New Year's Day this year.
Oh,
But you know what? There's still so much I have to offer, and they're not gone. They've just transitioned into a different
exactly.
form. So I also keep that in mind. They're not gone. They're just gone out of the form that I'm used to having them
Right.
in. And
But
there's
they're
nothing
always with us.
missing. They're always with us.
Yeah.
They're always with us.
Yeah. There are spirit guides
And
and
protectors and
yeah,
all those things.
and protectors and all the
Yeah.
things. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so for someone who enjoys pop culture, what do you think some of the boundaries or filters that they should apply to like their media consumption?
Yes.
So what do you think, especially for our youth? Like it affects so deeply, especially with the advent of AI. I mean, a lot of these kids are getting trapped into using AI for friends now as
Oh,
therapists.
yes.
It's so scary,
Yeah.
Cynthia.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that deep, you have to stay grounded in reality. So
Mm,
you should never be spending more time on artificial relationships than you are in real ones. And I think that's what's happened. It's totally flipped. People might
absolutely.
spend 5-10% of their time in real relationship and
Yeah.
all the rest in some sort of illusory relationship. That's not even real. That's not
Right.
concrete. That's not based in any form of reality. So I think that those ratios definitely have, thank you. So those ratios definitely have to flip back. And we
Yeah.
have to be more inward focused, all of us. We should be raising our kids up on meditation and inner
Yes.
work and understanding their divinity so that they're not so susceptible to these things.
Exactly. Yep.
It all starts with the inner work and the recognition of our inherent divinity and reconnecting to self, to source, to nature, and to each other. We will never be able to break these cycles in this type of worship if there's no connection to anything else. And even if we
Yeah.
do, they'll just find something else fake to attach to because they still haven't learned how to attach to what's real. So
Yeah.
it all starts there. And people have to learn how to be honest with themselves. I think a lot of people are extremely dishonest with themselves about themselves, and you cannot heal if that's what you're doing. It's
Right.
impossible.
And that's where shadow work comes in.
That's where
You
shadow
really,
work comes in.
yeah, you need to really do a lot of that shadow work.
Yes,
Heal the trauma, the past traumas, start to heal them.
yes.
Yeah, I
And
totally
that's an
agree with that.
ongoing thing. That's not a
Yeah.
one and
Oh
done.
gosh.
I did shadow work yesterday. I'm good now. That's an ongoing thing
Oh,
that
it's
you have
daily practically. Yeah,
daily. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
really is. Yeah. Um, it's so interesting because in the schools today, these kids are so disrespectful to teachers,
Mm,
pummeling them, fighting them in hallways, and just throwing things and not paying it. I mean, it was such a different world when I was growing up. We would never think
no,
to be disrespectful to a teacher like that. Like, what has gone wrong? I blame a lot of celebrity for that. I really do. I think it's given these kids a bodacious attitude to think that they can, just do whatever they want. And it's all about, like, it's a narcissistic thing where they think the world revolves around them and them only. They
yeah.
have to suffer the consequences of their actions. And again, that goes back to natural law. Like, do you think that by disobeying the rudimentaries of natural law, that karmically you suffer for that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You
Yeah.
can never get away from the karmic repercussions. The law of cause and effect, the principle, hermetic, that's always going. It's always in effect. So you absolutely will reap what you sow. It may not be evident it might not be immediate. It may be even in a different lifetime, but you
Yeah.
absolutely will always reap what you sow.
Yeah.
That's how we learn through the human experience is through cause and effect. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we evolve. Is seeing the result and consequences of our actions and decisions so that we can choose differently next time is the goal. But a lot of times, people stay stuck in these patterns for very, very long periods of time.
Oh yeah.
And with these kids, I think celebrity worship, it definitely is a part of it, but I think even a bigger part of it is just the breakdown of the family and the fact
Big
that
time.
everybody's working all the time for money, which is not even a real thing. It's just a made up construct that a religion, you really can call it a religion, that we've all decided we would believe in, rather than trying to figure out a way to live in harmony in a gift
Yeah.
economy or voluntary economy. We decided to go along with this money scheme, and now no one has time to even raise their kids, to engage with their kids, to teach their kids, to connect with their kids. And that is painful for children, extremely
Yeah.
painful. So they will act out, they will act immoral, they will act violent because they're missing the basic foundation, which is their parents and their family and their community.
Yeah.
We used to raise kids as a community. There'd be generations raising kids. There'd be, the neighbors help. None of that happens anymore. And these children
Yeah.
are being sacrificed. Their
They
childhoods are being,
really are.
they're put in
Yeah.
front of the screen and let
Yeah.
the screen raise them.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I remember it starting with the latchkey kids, where these kids were letting themselves in after school and having to fend for themselves because the parents both have to work, or maybe there's no dad or no mom, and there's one parent
Right.
raising a child. Like, I have to thank God again that I was not raised in that My dad went to work. My mom stayed home and raised the kids. There's a big, a growing trad wife, what they call it now, traditional wives. There's
Mhm.
like this whole like agenda on YouTube and all over social media where a lot of women, especially, are waking up to that there's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife
Oh,
and raising the children that you propagate. So
that
it's
you
like,
that you
yeah,
created. Wow,
right.
that's a unique concept. I created a
No.
child, and now I'm actually going to take care of them. And
Yeah.
people think of that as just such a unique concept, or like,
Yeah.
or even a strange concept. But that's a
Yeah.
very natural, should be a very natural concept.
Right. Now
And
we have grandparents raising kids and strangers raising kids, and it's just, it's really scary. I feel for these kids. I really do.
I do
Uh,
too.
um,
Too.
yeah, it's not good, not a good time for them. Let's say, but
Yeah,
um,
my daughter, my oldest daughter, just recently had a child, and she is fortunate enough to work from home, and she can be with
oh,
her
nice,
little son all day. And but she already told me, she was like, if this doesn't work out with this job, being able to work from home and take care of my son, I'm going to figure out something else. I'm going to figure out. So
yeah,
I'm going to figure this out. And I'm just so proud of her that she's taking motherhood so seriously. She understands
wonderful.
that this is the most important job you will ever have on this planet, being
Absolutely,
a mother to your child.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
she has embraced that so wholeheartedly, and it's so
Oh,
beautiful to
that's
watch.
wonderful.
So beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and yet we have parents that are letting their kids watch these Lady Gaga videos that are so blatantly morally lacking morals. And again, back to the satanic, I'm just, and the kids are watching it, and it's
Mhm. And it's
it's
soaking in. It's soaking in. They're
it
absorbing
is.
all of this. They're absorbing the energy of it, the ritual of it. They're absorbing the entire thing.
Yeah.
And it's that was another big reason why I did want to start the podcast too, is the children, the next generations before me. I fortunately wasn't exposed to all this. We didn't have phones and
Right.
stuff when I was young, and
Yeah,
the internet access and
exactly.
all of these things. So we lived completely. We had to go see our friends. If you
Oh,
wanted to
yeah,
have friends, you had to go actually physically see them, spend time
yeah,
with them, be with them,
that's
and all
correct.
those things. And it makes a big difference.
Oh,
And
it does.
so many kids have really just lost that almost completely.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids didn't grow up with that celebrity worship.
Mm,
The funny thing is, like, I remember when the Beatles came out, like putting posters on the wall and just admiring, like, look, so it does start in the youth, this idolization of these people. And it's just and it's okay. Like, you have a child and you say, Mommy, I want a picture of Lady Gaga, a poster, and you think it's harmless. Like, sure, I'll get you one. But it's really not, because again, and yet Christians are allowing this, and they're the ones that are saying, oh, don't idolize false gods. Well, hello. Like, that's what you're letting your child do. So,
you make a good point, because I know when I was a teenager, I would have posters of actors or singers that I like on my wall.
mhm.
I never idolized, because my dad was very rigid about that. He's like, you
Oh,
never
good.
worship a person, like, ever. You never do that. You can appreciate their talents, you can really like them. You
Exactly.
never worship another person ever in life. So that really stuck with me. So my kids would sometimes have posters and stuff on their wall too, but I ingrained the same thing in them. I would always tell them, no, absolutely, you never worship. They are just another person. They are not better
Exactly.
than you. They are not greater than you. They are not more powerful than you. Nothing. They may not
Yeah.
even be more talented than you, because I have very talented
Exactly.
kids. They just are. They're just in a state of fame where everybody can see their talents and everybody
Right.
can see
Right.
yours. But I was, really adamant that they understood that that does not make someone better than you because they achieved this societal status of fame, because it's completely
Right.
artificial and made up.
Yeah, it
You
absolutely
don't
is.
see celebrity, squirrels, or celebrity rabbits, or celebrity deer, or
Right.
celebrity plants. It's a cultural thing we've just made up as a collective. This
Yeah. And
whole
it's
idea of
dangerous.
celebrity.
It's very dangerous. It's a lot more dangerous than people are thinking about. Soul says teachers should have NFL salaries and homeschooling is the best. I agree.
I
They
agree.
should.
I
They
agree
absolutely should.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we see this moral erosion taking place in society. And as we discussed, a lot of it has to do with the cult of fame. Do you see any like emerging trends that are coming to the rescue? Like I talked about, trad wives are becoming popular. Do you notice anything else happening out there that maybe where people are waking up to this celebrity cult and saying, hey, this can't be good for me or my children?
Yeah, I do think there are people waking up, but I also think there are people that are going deeper into it. So both
Oh,
are happening simultaneously. And
yeah.
as we go through this timeline split, I think we will see greater and greater divisions of that sort. People that are
Oh,
like, wait a minute, this is insane. What am I doing? I'm not participating in this anymore. And people that are just going to go deeper and deeper into it because they are not ready to awaken. And no matter what we do, they're just not at that point yet. And that is
yeah.
something that I do talk about a lot too, is we do have to respect everyone's journey because everyone's journey
Yes.
is not the same. And it's not going to happen in the same timeline. And
Yeah.
they may have to go through 3 more cycles of this
Yeah. You
before
can't wake people. You can't wake people up.
you can plant
No,
seeds. You can plant seeds
exactly.
and you can help
Yep.
educate people who are ready to wake up, but you cannot
Yeah.
force someone to wake up.
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
possible. They have to be ready. Plant the seed and move on. That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Because
And
one
I
day,
see
person
it
might have to water it.
exactly. And I do see it, and you're right. It's like you plant this little fledgling of a seed, and
Hmm.
then before you know it, that person does. And I see it in people that I communicate with in the real world, where
Yes.
I'll say something and they'll go like, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory," and
Mhm.
I'm like, "Wait, just wait, give it 3 to 6 months, and you'll
Yes.
see a lot of it comes to
Yes.
fruition." So
Yeah, I had a lot
it's
of people that
crazy.
would say that kind of stuff to me all the time, and never like any of my posts. Now those same
Yeah.
people, liking the post, like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I've been
yeah.
telling you this for some years now, but no hard
Right.
feelings. I'm just glad you see it now. I'm glad you see it's not a
Exactly.
conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy that is happening. It's a real live
Exactly.
world conspiracy that is happening to us, to our families, to our children, and it's
Yep.
breaking down the fabric of humanity at a
Oh my
rapid
goodness, is
pace.
it ever. And it's not that you wanna have this, like, moment where you go, "See, I told you so moment." We don't want that. We just
Right.
want people to wake up in their own time, in their own space, and to be able to come to find their own truth and discover their own
Yes.
path to truth. So whatever that is for them,
Right.
because while truth is fixed, it can vary a little from person to person. My truth can be very similar to yours, but have nuances that are a little different, and that's fine. Like, I don't judge anybody. You believe what you need to believe. Um, do you think that by spreading the word of natural law and what you're doing every day? I mean, I know you said that you hope that you drop this seed and one person tells another person. Do you believe though that it's truly making a difference? Like, do you think we're being shadow banned for sharing this truth too?
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
know a lot of influences that are, yeah.
Yes. I'm actually like on TikTok right now. If I pull up my account, like on the screen, it's like account ban warning. Again, like this is not my first
For
account.
what? Could
And
you give us an example?
I, they really do not like natural law. A lot of those folks
No.
that are alleged natural law get banned. And if you mention anything that might be going on with some of the things that they have in store for us with these like 15-minute cities or with the jabs, stuff like that, taken down,
Oh no. They're
warning,
they're
warning for
harsh on
ban.
there.
It's
They're
it's it's getting worse. Like by the minute, it's literally getting worse. Like because I don't put up anything extreme or anything that cannot be backed up, like
yeah.
fundamentally backed up and easily proven. And that the truth just does not matter. That's not what they're censoring. Literally, the truth. That's what they're censoring is the truth. That's what they don't want out there. So yeah, it's really bad. I get shadow banned like all the time on all social
Jeez.
platforms.
I notice Instagram is a lot more lenient in that.
Yes.
Like I hear stuff on Instagram that I go, "Whoa, they let that on the platform."
Yeah.
Like they're a
Yeah.
lot more lenient. And I think that's because Mark Zuckerberg kind of buddied up with Donald Trump a little bit and made a promise to him to not be so heavy on the censorship. So I think he kind of loosened the reins a little bit. But even on X, there's still censorship taking place on
Hmm.
that platform where you
Yeah.
do get suppressed and shadow banned, which
Yes,
is such a damn shame.
it
I
is.
mean, we should be able to speak, you know,
Really,
freely.
for
And
free.
yeah, yeah, it's
And
really scary.
it's really sad that it's so difficult to get these messages out because of the shadow banning. And
Yeah.
a lot of people that I follow, they've had to create 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts because they keep getting completely shut down, just completely shut down for simply speaking the truth.
What a
That's it.
shame.
That's it.
I often wonder how a celebrity, what in whatever genre, can sacrifice their moral perpetuity in exchange for wealth and fame and whatever it comes with it. Like, because think about like the last time you deliberately, if you did, and I'm just using this as an example, you deliberately lied to someone. It makes you feel like crap, right?
Terrible. Yes.
It
Yes.
does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least it does to normal everyday humans that have a modicum of morality. So imagine surrendering, though, all of that just for celebrity. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think that does to a person's spirit? Like, let's look at it from their perspective. They have to feel like
Terrible.
garbage
Yeah.
doing something like that. How do they even live with themselves,
Look at
Cynthia?
a
I
lot
don't.
of their eyes. Their eyes
Yeah,
are like dead. Like
yeah,
you
they
don't
really
see any
are.
spark or anything. Like wow. Like it's almost like looking into a robot's eyes. It's very, very sad. And I think a lot of it has to do with they either find people that are already very vulnerable to begin with, morally, ethically. They may have been through a lot in their life. They may be in just a very
Mm,
bad place in their life. They may be
yeah,
looking for love, acceptance, self-esteem, all the things that we
right.
naturally look for. They maybe have not found it anywhere else, and so now someone's offering this, like, oh, I've been looking for this. I really want to feel valuable. I really want to feel loved. I really want to feel seen. And so they're offering something that really looks very glossy and shiny on the outside, and so they jump at it. And then I also think they find a lot of these people very young, so they groom them
Yes,
into this. They go through horrific abuse.
yes.
So by the time they're an adult, they're so far gone by then. It's like they don't even remember when they had a soul, or remember when they felt human, or remember when
Uh-huh.
they felt good. They don't even remember anymore. They've
Yeah,
been
like
lost for so long.
He's a good example of that.
Perfect
And
example.
now he's in jail suffering for his sins. And I mean, I hope he's had some time to think about the disaster of his ways and maybe do some changing in there.
Yeah, you would hope so, but I mean, I definitely don't hold my breath for people that are
Yeah.
that far gone. They're
Yeah.
so far gone. He probably looks at himself as the victim. He doesn't think he
Oh, I'm
can
sure he does.
victimize anybody. I'm sure he probably sees himself as the victim in this situation,
Yeah, that's a
not the
good
people
point.
that were assaulted and harmed.
Yeah, that's a good point. And celebrities often endorse like social or political causes. How do we distinguish between like authentic moral activism and the use of ethical causes that like builds brand strategies? Like, what do you think the cultural consequences are when a public can't tell the difference between someone who is being genuine and backing a cause and someone who's being paid? Look at the TikTokers too. They're being paid to promote social activism. They come out and admit it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I think that is definitely a job for discernment.
Yep.
And discernment will not come again without that inner connection, well, that heart centered connection. Your heart center has
Mm,
to be open to have that level of discernment where you can be like,
right.
this seems like an op, this is not feeling right, this is not sounding right. Then you can also do a little investigating on your own. A lot of people just want to take the easy way. Well, they said this is a good cause, so I'm just going to believe them. Investigate, start following some money trails. Start looking at organizations, see what they really do. You know, don't just take someone's word for it. And that's a big part of our problem socially and collectively, is that we're always looking for someone to tell us what to think, to tell us what to do, because we don't want to do it for ourselves.
Right.
We don't want to figure out anything for ourselves and really learn how to think again, because a lot of people have lost that skill altogether. They don't know how to think. They don't know how to research something effectively. They don't know how to gain knowledge. Like the method, like the trivia method, things like that are just kind of lost. It's completely esoteric. It's completely, they don't even know about it. So learning how to think and discern and gather knowledge on your own independently is crucial. We should not be depending on celebrities or anyone else to tell us always what to think and what to do and what to believe. That should be coming from in here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be coming from teachers and parents with good moral fiber to build character in our youth as well.
Yes, people that you actually know, that you actually trust,
in the real world,
shown you that they care about you in the real world. This person has shown you through their actions, through them caring for you, through them looking out for you. They've shown you that they actually care. Now that's a person, yes, it makes sense to trust, but you trust in a stranger because they said it and they're getting paid for it is rather silly.
Yeah.
It's rather silly.
Yeah, the scariest thing for me is the demonic stuff. I can't like wrap my head around that. It's so real. It's like it's a real thing. These people are really having these rituals and performing these ceremonies in exchange for their souls. I mean, think about that. Yes. How powerful is fame and celebrity?
There is a short video clip I would like to share. Let me find it, that talks about that. She just, well, let me see here. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen. Share screen. Can you see this?
No, did you add it to the stage? Yeah, at the bottom there's a presenter invite.
Okay, let me go back.
Yeah, and for folks listening.
So, okay, just click on this and then hit share. Live stream.
Yeah, where it says presenter invite. Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, great. All right.
All right, there we go. Now tell folks what we're looking at.
This is a video that I saw on TikTok, and she kind of breaks down the ritual part of what we're watching when we see these performances.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
People think celebrities are just entertainers. They don't realize they're watching rituals. They don't realize they're watching possession, and they definitely don't realize how far back this goes or how deep. This isn't new. This began in Kemet, ancient Egypt, where the gods weren't worshipped from a distance, they were embodied. The pharaoh didn't just speak to Ra, he was Ra in flesh. Isis, Set, Horus, Thoth, each had temples, priesthoods, and living avatars. When a ritual was done, it was done to invite the god into the body through song, through movement, through trance. And the people would gather, sing, and offer, feeding the god through the vessel. Now, the temples are gone, but the structure still here. The arena is the temple, the stage is the altar, the celebrity is the vessel, and the crowd is the worship. Beyonce channels Oshun, Doja Cat mirrors Lilith, Kali, and Sekhmet. Minaj doesn't perform roaming, she hosts him. Gaga dresses as Baphomet, Rihanna at the Super Bowl in red is the Scarlet Isis. Kanye calling himself Jesus. It's not ego, it's God-born indication. But to understand why this works, you have to understand the mind. There was a time when humans didn't think like we do. Before the self, as we know it existed, the mind was bicameral, split. One side gave commands and the other heard voices as gods. This is not a metaphor, this is neurological structure. People didn't make decisions, they heard commands, and those commands were divine. That part of the brain still exists. The ancient part that hears, sees, and feels meaning and symbols is why people cry when Beyonce walks into the water, why people obsess over red stages, winged costumes, and masked dancers. why they feel something holy, even if they can't explain it. Because the bicameral mind broke, but the need for the gods didn't. So now the divine is projected outward onto celebrities, brands, music, and screens. Here's where it gets weird. When these stars channel gods, they don't always close the ritual. They invoke archetypes too massive to contain, and over time, the vessel fractures. That's when you see it. The glitching, the rage, the crying, the lost time.
I'm not sure why that stopped, but you got to kind of get the point of what.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant.
Yes. Let me.
So that dates back to, pre-Egypt even, with the worship of this archetype, this vessel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost inherent, right, to our nature. Talk about that. What did that mean to you, that clip that we heard?
Yes, and there's also I don't know if you're still seeing my screen. I hit stop sharing, but it's kind of, I think my internet connection may be running slow. But there's a lot of scientists also that believe we have like a worship gene, like we're literally designed to worship. So when we're presented with these figures to worship, it can be, a very easy transition to kind of fall into this spell and into this trance of, and this has been going on for so long. If you even think about even the awards that they give at the ceremony, I think Oscar, look like the statue,
the Grammys, the Oscars, all of them.
And it's all these rituals. This has been going on for so long. They've been giving us bread and circus forever.
Yes.
As distraction and as a substitute for actually recognizing our own divinity. So I think a lot of what she said was, absolutely spot on.
My! Could you kindly share that recording? We have some folks that are asking for it too. If you could paste it in the chat for people to grab, that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that. I don't know, like I'm a little bit frozen here. I'm trying to get unfrozen.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, some people just have a great way of paraphrasing stuff and just putting it into this nice little package, where it makes so much sense. And it's so true. Like, think about the gods that we worshipped back in the day and, named them and worshipped them. Did these gods really exist? Like, or were they figments of our imagination? Like, it was so powerful for like the Greek gods and the Roman gods that were worshipped.
Yes.
I often wondered if they existed in reality or not.
And what I think often existed is just different forms of life, not human form. So to a human, they would have seemed very godlike. You know what I mean? If they live much longer or much stronger or much bigger or much more powerful or much more in tune and can easily manifest or use telepathy and things like that. Wow. So I think a lot of times you're just dealing with other life forms that to a human may have just been perceived as a god.
As a god. So we godified them essentially.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Godified and worshiped them. And the worship is still going on. We're still looking to keep worshiping because it's like built into us that worshiping.
It is.
That we have to be aware of.
Yeah, it's almost like encoded in our DNA because it goes back so many millennial. Yes. And I think it's so, and it's funny because I think part of the path of awakening is realizing your inner God and, your connection to Christ consciousness and that we're all points of light connected to the same point of light. Yes. We're all one. So all this crap about racism and intolerance, it's all just a facade. And it's just another way to keep us in constant fear and battle with each other.
Divide and conquer.
While we're fighting each other, they are pulling the puppet strings and taking over.
Yep. They are sitting back and letting us self-destruct. They're letting us destroy each other. The divide and conquer strategy is probably one of their best strategies because it keeps us extremely occupied. We argue about everything. We're divided about everything.
Anything and everything.
Even celebrities. Like, look at
Yeah.
how people get so upset if you don't like their same celebrities. That's crazy.
I don't
All the things
understand
that are
the whole
going on,
Taylor.
that's what you care about.
Oh, it is crazy. I don't understand the whole Taylor Swift thing either. I mean, she's lovely. She has a wonderful voice. She writes nice music and songs. There is a cult of millions of people across the globe over this
Are they
woman.
called Swifties?
Swifties.
Something like that. Yeah. And
I
a lot of
don't
them are not
understand
even
it.
teenagers, they're grown adults.
Yeah, they're all like tweens, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And of course, adults like her too. But it's just beyond the scope. I can't fully comprehend it.
Yeah.
But that video recording was so spot on.
It was. I don't know if there's another way I
Yeah.
can share it with you after that you can get it. I know I did post it on my my Instagram page. I know it's there, but I don't know if there's another way I can get it to you because I'm still just.
Well, you know what?
spinning here,
Just
not
send it to me in
responding.
an email.
I
and
will.
I'll put
I can
it.
definitely do that.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat of this conversation on YouTube where folks can just come and grab it.
Perfect.
That'll work out perfectly. Yeah.
I can definitely do that. And I can even send you that whole slideshow if you want, because there's another video on there that's really good. And some other information that's very good too. So I can send you that whole slideshow if you want to post it along with the video.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it does provide a lot of great additional, supporting information about
And
celebrities.
you're frozen. You can't share another one?
No,
Like
it's
another
not,
video?
it's not letting me do anything. This is very
Oh,
frustrating.
goodness.
I can't even see you right now.
Are you
I'm just
kidding me?
No. And my
Oh, no,
internet
you
is
got
very
locked out.
reliable normally. So, because I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I do all day for my day job is I'm on the computer. So, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
just not
Well,
responding.
that's okay. We could see you and your beautiful
Okay.
face, so there's no worries.
I'm
Of
glad.
course. So what do you have lined up for yourself next? Like, what are you planning, hoping for? What aspirations do you have? Or are you just continuing your podcast, your website, your mission? Like, what's in Cynthia's future?
Well, I'm still going to do the podcast, but I do plan on doing it less frequently because I want to get out in community more. I am
Nice.
part of a fantastic community called Collectively Sustainable. You can find them at collectivelysustainable.org. And we focus on hyperlocal food systems, building them because food and freedom are directly connected. If we do not have healthy food to eat or access to food sovereignty, there's not a whole lot we can do because if you can't eat, you can't do anything else. So that's
right.
a major focus for us, and just bringing back community in and of itself. So, like I said, I recently did a workshop. I want to do more in-person workshops that focus on inner work, meditation, breath work, grounding, natural law, all the things, all the tools that we need to build community, because we can come together, but if we don't know how to interact with each other and we don't understand ourselves, how do you understand someone else? How do you really connect with someone else if you have no connection with self or no connection with nature? So I really want to focus on doing much more in person, with people and building that community, live and in person, building those connections, building those bonds. So that's really going to be a major focal point for me going forward. I also want to get a little bit, I think, into guided meditations. The one that I did at my workshop went really well, and people really liked it. And so I want to focus on getting into that more too. So yeah, I have lots of things in the works. I'm very passionate about all of these things. So I'm excited about the future. I'm very excited. I know a lot of people right now are very scared for the future and, biting their nails. But I'm excited about the future because we have a chance here. As this system collapses, we have an opportunity to build something new, to build a new paradigm. And I am ready to put in that work.
Oh, that is so inspiring and brave of you. I love that. So, do you have like a community garden too, or like I've seen a lot of that happening lately, where people are, gardening together, growing things.
Yes, there's a lot of that going on. I personally garden at home. I have a pretty large garden. I garden in my front yard, my backyard, inside of the house, like
Nice.
all over the place. I love it. I love gardening. And there's nothing like growing your own food and eating something that you grew that
Yes.
you know is pesticide free and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It feels phenomenal. But there are, people, everyone's not in a position to garden at home. So,
Right.
take advantage of community gardens. Absolutely. There's lots of options if you really want to get into growing food and eating healthier. There's lots of options out there. And like the community that I'm part of is nationwide. So in like right now, our movement is called the Roots Movement, is what we're pushing. And we're going around Metro Atlanta installing 10 by 10 garden beds,
Nice.
all around. So, there's people out here that are passionate about changing this world, and they're putting action behind their talk.
Oh, I
And
love
that's very
that.
important. That's very important. We can't just keep talking about this stuff. We have to
We
start
gotta
putting
do.
action behind our talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have like um a community center where you do like group meditations with people in the real world? Is that what you're doing? Or like how does that work?
Well, the last workshop I had, it was just at a friend's house. She has a her property is very large. You can even take a little nature walk and still be on her property.
Oh
So
wow.
we did it at her home, and we got plenty of room to spread out. We were able to do breath work and grounding and meditation, and go for a nice nature walk together and just connect. And then afterwards, just talk and commune with each other, build
Nice.
relationships, build bonds. That is the backbone of everything.
Mhm.
Is community, community,
Yes,
community. I cannot
I
stress that enough.
agree. I
So
agree. And that's like, in conjunction with what you're doing online too, it's just the perfect way to be able to reach and inspire people, Cynthia.
thank you, thank
Oh, it
you.
really is. It was such a pleasure connecting with you.
This was
Um,
awesome. I loved this conversation, and I'm so
Thank you.
grateful that you had me on. I really loved this. I feel like it's very impactful, and hopefully it will be helpful to those who listen.
Yes, absolutely. And I would love to invite you back too. So
I would love to come back.
anytime, I would love to invite you back. If you have anything else you want to specifically talk about, whether it's, the roots of natural law, anything that drives your passion, you're
Okay.
just such a pure joy to connect with and to get to know. And I thank you. I know you can't see me, but I'm thanking you.
I
I'm
appreciate
thanking you
that.
so much. And we will be in touch. How's that?
Yes, absolutely. Please, I would love to hear from you. I would love to come back on. There's so many other things that I would absolutely, feel blessed to be able to talk about on this platform. So yeah, let's stay in touch. And if anyone wants more information on natural law, just visit affirmlifedaily.com. There's tons of it on there. And
Mhm.
yeah, I feel very, like I said, I feel passionate and positive that we can change things. We can. It's just
Yes.
gonna take all of us getting involved, like involved from a sincere, authentic place.
Yes. Gosh, you're so right. And you have a lovely website too. You have all your
Thank
videos on
you.
there
Thank
so
you.
people can enjoy them, sit back and watch them and enjoy them. And again, it's right up there, affirmlifedaily.com. So please be sure and send her some love, visit her website, and we will be in touch, Cynthia. God
Okay.
bless.
All
Thank you
right.
dearly.
Thank you so
Take care,
much.
dear.
Infinite grace, love, and
Bye-bye.
gratitude. Bye bye.
Same here. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat. Cynthia is so awesome. I'm so glad I connected with her. And again, thank you. You've been listening to, and of course, I have to pick up Oliver now because he's insisting on it. You've been listening to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, which is 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And please support all of our other hosts and their guests. We have so many exciting topics, people from television shows, film, radio, and many authors with best-selling books. So just a quick summary. We've spent this past time talking about the cult of fame and examining how celebrity worship acts as a cultural mirror, reflecting and growing the crisis of morality fueled by comparison, narcissism, and the glamorization of excess. God, we're all guilty of that one. I think we all have too much stuff in our lives, but that's a whole nother show. But Cynthia Mitchell has shared the ultimate solution that doesn't lie in reforming Hollywood. And I love the way she has an antidote to the tyranny of external validation that's so hard to work and prevalent in all of social media. So we must choose to reclaim our ethical standards from all the way from the red carpet and re-anchor them into our personal values. And as Cynthia is doing this great work in her community, which I absolutely love and admire. So we thank Cynthia so much from affirmlifedaily.com for reminding us that the most profound and ethical life is not the one lived on camera, but it's the one lived with a conscious integrity off screen. Gosh, that's so true. But God bless everyone in the chat. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you, soul. Do come back. Thank you, Cassie, Heidi, everyone else. I hope I didn't miss. There's a bunch of other people. Thank you so much for popping in the chat. I absolutely love hearing from each and every one of you. And so does Oliver, my little boy. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow. We have another fantastic show tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. And we are going to have a lovely guest by the name of Ebony Banks. And we're going to talk about how to make intuition your superpower to learn, trust, and listen to your inner voice. So please, please pop in. I definitely want to be able to see and hear you in the chat. That's tomorrow, Friday, the 17th, I believe, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Much love and gratitude and peace to you all. Bye-bye till tomorrow.